but today is not one of those days. Anywho, welcome to my watercolor painting tutorial. I'm using my phone to live stream this on Twitch, and then from there I'll download it and upload it onto YouTube, which is probably where, if you're watching this, you'll probably see it on there. Anywho, I have a quarter sheet in front of me, which is what, 11 by 15, but we mat it considering it 11 by 15, mat it considering 11 by 14. I haven't had a chance to do much watercoloring lately. It's been busy at work, but today I had a chance. So I'm just going to soak my paper, and when I was thinking about painting, I'm going to try to do a local coulee ditch type deal from memory. Last time I'd seen it was back in May, and it was looking to the east as the sun was setting, so the sun was setting behind me and all that. But I'm just going to use the memory of the composition. Use the Hake brush. I have the medium. I find that works the best for me with this size paper. Smaller size paper, I prefer the smaller Hake. So let's see. I'm going to kind of just play around. I'm going to try to make it less marshy and more I think it was over by some crawfish ponds and more by the fields. Just pouring out a little bit more alizarin crimson. I've been noticing a lot lately about how in the morning when I'm on my drive to work, there's just so much red and orange on the horizon, and then it gradiates up into blue or a purple. So I'm gonna put a little bit there. Get some ultramarine. Just pull it down. The paper's all wet, so that's kind of helping everything out. And the paper being wet, it's going to start buckling, and you can just lift the clips and it'll either relax, or you can use the back of the brush to push it. Try not to use my thumb, because right there you can see, well, any finger, you can see that it'll pull up the pigment, or it can leave an oil spot where it'll then kind of resist the pigment. Okay, so bring that down. Switch over to some raw sienna. It's going to be where my horizon line is. Switch over to, did I not put out some burnt sienna? I did not. A lot of the paints that I'm pulling from are straight from the tube, but I also spritzed some of the other ones with water. So the waterway here and come through, which is just a very common composition that I use. And we have a tree element right there. But let me get some purplish grays going. I got brown, just a lot of brown on there. Just using light red, ultramarine. Everything is still like soaking wet, so just relax. Just kind of patting it in. That's some raw sienna along the tops of these. Put some Paynes gray. Bring the reflection down. My tree is going to be right here. I'm just going to that shadow in. Just kind of going fast and loose with this and having fun. That's on my watercolor. Well, today is Tuesday. I watercolored on Sunday, and that was for a local scene somebody had requested, so I've done that. Then I had oiled Friday and Saturday. And that was after like a week of not being able to paint due to other commitments. Let's see. So this is going to come up. Let's pull a little bit out, a little bit out. Okay. Now, just looking at it, thinking what I want to do. I'm going to start drying it, but I'm also going to have the card ready. If you were to scrape right now, it would just be too much, and the water would, the pigment would flood back into it. You'd get a black line right like that, and I'm not looking to get any of those. I want to get white, so you're gonna have to dry it till, let's see if, I don't know if you could see any difference in the sheen, but we're gonna dry it, let's say 3/4 of the way. Let's see if I may dry too much. Yep. So if you need to, you can always dried a lot faster than I thought. Sorry. Put some wet paint in those spots. texture like that. So the paper wasn't wet, the paint was, and that allowed me to scrape. Now, with the scraping, it's very easy to overdo it, and I'm planning on overdoing it so that I can then come on top of these and put more of a texture on top. Okay, so I have those there. Now, looks a little burnt. Sienna, get a little more color. Now, let's see, here is where I want to put in my tree structure, so I'm going to just go in, and the paper is still wet in some areas. The brush is fairly dry right now. Some sap green. Now this pigment is all wet. Scraping all the different guys that are going on in there. Getting the rigor. So I'm kind of going fast right now because everything is in a weird wet and dry stage that I want to get a combination of different ideas going on. Paper towel. See if I can get some different textures going on in there. You can come back in and scrape again. The brush is all crazy right now. I can get the texture of the grass. Let's see, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's see where we're at. Bring down shadow reflection. Using kind of a Paynes gray mixture right there. paint for a few days and you feel like you forgot how to paint. Especially when you're going from your mind or making something up. Putting all these guys across here. So essentially the image that stuck in my mind that I was basing this off of was the bend with the tree in front, and there's just a lot of overgrowth coming over. There's a road right here and whatnot. I think what I'm going to do is place some tall trees, skinny trees, mixing up raw sienna and Paynes gray. Place them right here, and I'll kind of do a tree line. I think they call them chicken trees. Not really sure. Kind of tall, skinny. I'll put some of those in there. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. You can paint any tree any way you want. This is a tall, skinny tree. That's what it is. So I'm putting it right there. I give it some root structure, kind of ground it, but then I'll come over it and put grass and whatnot to kind of help those guys sit in their place. I'm gonna get some pure raw sienna, really make them pop. I have a painting in my living room where a buddy of mine had posted a picture of his hunting spot, and I immediately went, and painted the picture that he had taken, and I had kept it for myself. I was really happy with the way it turned out, and one of the things that I had done was get very aggressive with the pure pigments like this. I'm just using the straight from the tube. These guys are obviously going to cast reflection or a shadow right here. Bring those down. I'm going to wait till this dries before I start setting them into it, but there's going to be a lot of little guys coming up too. Now, I just want a lot of foreground in this one. I'm going to blame it on the fact that I haven't painted in a couple of days. I'm going to have more of a bigger structure come up and less rhyme or reason to it, kind of more craziness like this one. I'm just kind of seeing what kind of thing I can mix up. The brush was so saturated, I decided to lay it in and brush a little bit of texture and some rocks right in there. So whenever it's wet, you know, with scrapes and things like that, you can easily change what's going on. Okay, let me clean this. I just have mud going on, which, I mean, it's fine if you use mud. I prefer mud, but let's see, let's go lemon yellow, which I think I'd poured some out of, but I always have to use it straight from the tube, at least the Cotman brand. If nobody has any suggestions on affordable lemon yellow that holds its own, let me know in the comments below. This guy's gonna come in front of this, so we're gonna really have to change his tone. With the hake, at this stage, if it's wet, I feel like I don't get a good texture with it. Put that down there for the grass. These guys need coverage too. We can take that Paynes gray and go under the underside of this. The underside. Let me scrape. Into these ones. I think I work kind of fast, so I apologize if it seems kind of frantic, but once you get that idea in your head and you start getting it going, I think, or at least that's the way it works for me. But, you know, I do a lot. I work, I coach, I tutor, I try to do these videos, I try to paint a lot. So even though it's relaxing, it probably does seem frantic because the style I had to adopt in order to fit this into my schedule. Should have put some lamp black on the palette today. That would have been fun. That would have probably really helped accentuate these. I could still do it, but I don't know if I'm in the mood. So this painting took a big turn from the direction I was going in, where I was originally just had the bend and that tree right there. And everything else kind of started following suit, which helped. They added a framing element. I'm getting my need to paint out the way. Just the rigger brush is great. How you use it probably helps define your style. For me, I find that it really starts to get, I don't know what the word would be. It'd be calligraphic. The Paynes grade dries quite a bit, so you'll see that it'll be there. I think what we'll do is put a little bit more lemon yellow on the palette, pop it in right in here for the closer tree element, and then we'll take a step back and look. But I'm liking this. You know, the cool thing is, if you're painting, and whether or not you're happy with your paintings, post them online and share them. Especially post them on your Facebook timeline, because a year later your painting will pop up and you'll see how different you paint, or how much you improved, or how much you changed, or what direction you went in from a year ago. And that's what's been happening to me. Some of the stuff that I see that pops up, and where my mind was and what I was painting. I think it's a pretty cool experiment. Also do the same thing if you have any long-term goals. Like I coach a weightlifting team, and I'll lift, and I've posted, you know, videos for myself and whatnot of like my deadlift or bench. It'll pop up and I'll see where I was at a year ago, which is very fun. Okay, let's grab this lemon yellow. It has a tendency to really turn green for me very quickly, no matter what's going on. So let's get another straight from the tube. I'll wash the brush off. We're nearing the end, but I really want some yellow. So I have it. I think a little more darks up there to give us that framing device. I don't like the lack of texture right there. And I think we should dry it off and just call it done. So we'll dry it off and then I'll shut off the video. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to follow along Feel free to check me out on Twitter. Feel free to the Facebook, any of the social media. And if you want to throw any support my way, I have the Patreon that I set up. Okay, we'll take the razor. Just the point. Let's add a little highlight. Okay, so that's that. All right, hope you enjoyed. Have a great night.